1-on-1 ratio pod. Welcome to. What are you doing here, Meli?
Yoav.
I was just gonna hop on the Zoom to see Meli.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting I was sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna hop on the Zoom, and then I saw, because I wanted to make like a change of scenery today.
Right, and I was thinking the same exact thing. I was gonna come here to film on Zoom, and then I ran into Yoav.
And then I fucking saw her.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
What the fuck?
What the hell?
Guys, welcome.
How are you, Meli?
I'm doing pretty good. Living life in this beautiful park.
In the
How
beautiful
about you,
park.
Yoav?
I hope that the audience can't hear the highway that's in front of us.
I know, I hope not. Maybe.
But I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm good. I just want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to 1-on-1 ratio pod. The podcast where we talk about everything but movies. I'm Yoav Akiva.
I'm Melina Nazarian.
And today, this fine morning, we'll be talking about
Tu Mama Tambie.
Which I know we were going to talk about Jacques Dere's La Piscine, starring Alain Delon.
Yeah.
And Romy Scheider and Jane Birkin. But
I was gone for a month.
But she was gone for Euro, and we're gonna talk about that film. I watched it.
Yeah, we will talk about that soon. Don't worry.
Are we gonna talk about? Are we gonna make an episode on it?
We are.
Max, just look at our Letterboxd reviews or mine or whatever. I still don't have one up, but it will happen.
It will happen, I promise.
And we watched Tu Mama together, but we kept a poker face, so we haven't said anything about the film.
Nothing.
She doesn't know if I hate it or if I love it, or if I hate and love it.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
I have the Criterion DVD right here.
She has the Criterion Blu-ray, which she got on a sale one day.
I don't know. Yeah.
But we'll show it later. We have a segment to get through.
Yeah. Also, we want to thank our cinematographer Zev Rodnitsky today.
Yes.
For being behind. You want to come say hi real quick, Zev? Yeah. He's gonna come say hi. Come pop a little squat here. Say hello. This is Zev.
It's our friend Zev.
So if you hear any tomfoolery behind the camera, it's him.
It's him. It's not us. I swear.
All right. So first segment. So we're actually gonna skip movie news today, because
too much has happened.
Much.
We've taken too big of a break.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I was gallivanting across Europe.
But where were you in Europe, Meli?
I was in Spain. I was also in Sweden. I saw Ingmar Bergman's home.
She saw Ingmar Bergman homes. I didn't see Ingmar Bergman's home. Because I was back at home, but now I'm here. Mm-hmm. We visited together.
Yeah.
I'm visiting you.
You're visiting me here in the country of the United States of America.
Somewhere in the U.S. I hope that one of those people, those people that are like, it's like one guy, really. It's not those people.
What? They're like, I know where you live?
Where he's like, you'll never...
right.
And then he's like, sees the forestry, and he's like, that kind of plant is native to fucking Nevada. Arkansas. And then, is that a bee?
Sorry. I think there's bees behind us.
That's a little scary, but, right. We're brave souls.
Yeah.
So I hope...
No, I was going to say, should we just go right into it, though?
I think we should. We're going to start with what we watched.
Yeah.
Since the last podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Sure. I'll just do a quick little run through because I honestly I don't really have much to say.
Okay.
I watched Kinds of Kindness in theaters.
Which rated...
I gave it 3.5. I thought it was okay, but, whatever. Then I watched The First Omen on the airplane, which is a fantastic horror movie. I highly recommend you go and watch The First Omen.
But you said that Kinds of Kindness got worse in your head after.
Yes, it did.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's kind of mid, so kind of forgettable.
Wow. For a mid-Yorgos Lanthimos movie.
Yeah, it's forgettable.
Damn.
And then I watched Cat Person, which is based off of that article stupid movie. I watched. Yeah, it's dumb. I watched The Godfather finally
on the plane,
on the airplane. I know, like a freak.
Like
a freak.
Yeah. Well, there's a Godfather mentioned in the movie we're talking about today, right? He sleeps with the mom of...
This was... Really?
You remember, it's like when the mom was in the hands of the Godfather.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Jesus Christ, guys. Okay. Then I watched Footloose.
Footloose.
It was stupid. Footloose. Then I watched Priscilla.
Sunday shoes.
Yeah, guys, cheer for his clapping. Sorry, I'm trying to get through this.
Cheer for my clapping.
Then I watched Priscilla, finally.
How was it?
Priscilla was a lot of fun. I liked it. It was very nice. It was good. Sofia Coppola movie. I don't particularly love her movies, but this one was good.
That's. I mean, I like Virgin Suicides.
That one's good, but the other ones I'm like mid.
Well, how was Jacob Elordi as Elvis?
He was good. It was a little scary because Jacob Elordi's like, he's hot. And Elvis is not scary? Hot. Because Elvis is not hot.
A lot of people thought he was.
Well, he's not anymore. Back in the day.
Well, yeah, he's kind of a bad guy.
Yeah. And then Yoav and I went to the theaters and watched Long Legs.
Whoa, you've barely seen anything, huh?
Yeah. Not gonna spoil the movie because it's brand new and you should go see it. But let's just say I was pretty scared.
Well, okay, I'll talk about it when I get to mine.
Yes.
Which Meli's putting up right now. But I think I watched a little bit more than you in the last few.
You definitely did.
In the last, well, she was traveling Europe and seeing Ingmar Bergman's house. I was staying at home and watching Ingmar Bergman's movie. I'll go fast.
Don't go on an 8-hour
Jesus Christ.
How about only mention what you watched? Only mention what you watched new.
Only new movies?
Don't mention rewatches.
No. Fine. I rewatched Get Out, but I won't talk about it. Sorry, is that mentioning it? My uncle showed me Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, which is just the craziest fucking movie. It's about drag queens. It's really good. It's kind of like if
we love drag queens.
We love drag queens. It's kind of like if the Birdcage. It's kind of the Birdcage, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, that kind of genre of 90s drag films. But it's more family oriented. It stars Patrick Swayze, who's a drag queen, which is so funny.
I love him. Rest in peace, King.
And this other guy who was a basketball player, I'll tell you exactly what his name was. Wesley Snipes.
Okay.
You know, if Wesley Snipes, your ass 435, like, yeah.
Yeah.
From Kendrick's opening.
Also, do you guys like our glasses? Sorry.
Yeah. Do you
Clout goggles.
So, yeah.
If you know, you know.
Wesley Snipes, you wouldn't think he plays a drag queen, but he does.
Period.
I watched Jonathan Glazer's Sexy Beast. I thought it was great. The DVD I watched it on was kind of shitty quality, though. Mm-hmm. But it's brilliant. It's strange. It's very strange.
Period.
I don't remember too much. It's not as memorable as something like, The Zone of Interest or like Under the Skin, but like it has just an energy to it that's really just like very aloof and warm and like, I wouldn't say sexy. It's just kind of an angry movie. And you have Ben Kingsley there doing his craziest performances I've ever seen from the Kingsley.
Okay.
And it's whack. I watched The Swimming Pool for the podcast, but we'll get to that one day. We still have Spirit of the Beehive podcast to.
Oh shit.
To upload.
Guys, I'm so behind. I'll upload that tonight.
That kind of stuff. Life According to Agfa, I rewatched it. Not as good. The acting wasn't as good as I remembered it being, but it's still a masterpiece. Kind of. May December, I watched finally. I knew it would be my cup of tea. I didn't know it would be that like. I wouldn't say succinct, but like I don't know. Kind of like it doesn't give you any answers.
No,
I didn't think it would be like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of one you gotta think about. It's all about like the little silences, the little characters. Yeah, you gotta soak it in. Very subtle. There's like kind of has been movies recently that have been critically acclaimed that are just like they don't explain a lot.
Yeah.
Like you just have to fill it in. And I kind of like those movies.
I like that too, especially now in the day and age where everything is like fucking shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
It's kind of good to have people to be able to understand things and
I thought it was definitely smart and very like it's like Pedro Almodovar if he directed Persona by Bergman.
Okay.
Kind of just with like more weird sexual stuff. I watched a movie called Atash or Thirst, and the director came in. It's a Palestinian movie. Very, very good. Very well shot. I really recommend it. It's honestly very underrated. I know it went through like Arab film festivals when it came out.
Nice.
In 2004.
Okay.
But it's really a very well done movie that's just one big metaphor for a lot of stuff, but I won't get into it. So I definitely recommend that. I watched Billy Wilder's The Apartment with my grandma, and it was so much fun. You've probably seen it. Or Zev's probably seen it.
I haven't. I thought Zev's seen it.
It's a really good... He's not answering because he's the cameraman.
Yeah.
It's just a really good rom-com, very tight, very good. I rewatched Old Boy, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Rewatched Mad Adventures of Rabbi Jacob on my birthday, and I like showing that movie to people. I watched Fried Green Tomatoes at my work in the movie theater, and I cried, even though it's kind of like aged Meli.
Horribly?
Not horribly.
Poorly?
Poorly, I guess. I don't know. It's just a little cheesy.
Gotcha.
But it's a good movie to have on. I watched The New Land, which is the sequel to that Swedish The Emigrants. And I also bought the disc when me and Meli went to Amoeba Music. We're not going to tell you if that's LA or Oakland or San Francisco. Why are you telling them?
Because they should know.
Anyways, so I picked up The Emigrants and The New Land, which The New Land is so fucking good. It's like the end of a saga. It's 6 hours worth of Oscar-nominated cinema.
Wow.
Like this one guy said on his review, and no one has seen it. It's so good, and it's so fucking smart. I watched a bunch of experimental short films. I'll try to skip through that one. There's this one Israeli one called Slow Down, which was just like amazing and it really inspirational, but I watched that and it was great. Black Cat, White Cat, have you heard of that one? It's Yugoslavic, so before Yugoslavia was Serbia.
Okay.
Just incredibly chaotic, incredibly fun, incredibly romantic. Romeo and Juliet, if it was a strange, surreal, chaotic comedy. I watched Robert Altman's Brewster McCloud, Shelley Duvall's film debut, where she has those big eyelashes.
Yeah.
Very pretty girl. Just an amazing cynical comedy. It has really, really funny points. Robert Altman is just amazing.
Right.
Elaine May, she made A New Leaf. Do you know that one?
I think so.
One of her 3 features.
Yes.
I watched that. Really good. Not a lot to say about it, but really good. The Iron Claw I watched on the plane. Do you like that one?
Yes. I have this shirt. The shirt.
You have a shirt of the Iron Claw?
I have a shirt of David Von Erich.
Well, it was good. It was it that
like it, guys.
Was it that good, guys? Was it that good?
Yes, I liked it a lot.
I thought it was okay. It was just like not as subtle as I would want it to be, cuz like okay, the dad was ruining the family. That's the trauma, that's the generational whatever.
Not really generational because they're all dead.
Familial. It's a familial issue.
I guess, yeah.
But like, what is special? But like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you have to say about it? My favorite line.
Well, I guess that it's bad.
It's bad then.
Don't
okay.
abuse your kids.
Don't abuse your kids because it will fuck them up, I guess.
Yeah.
Ali Fear Eats the Soul is a Werner Fassbender film. You know Fassbender?
I know Michael Fassbender.
And it's this other guy who's he's this queer German director, really famous in art house spheres. He made
I might
The
know.
Bitter Tears of Petra von Kant.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, Ali Farid's Soul was just about racism, and it was good. Not something that special.
Okay.
Love and Basketball. Have you heard of Love and Basketball?
Of course I have.
Just an amazing rom-com. I was cheering, I was hooting, I was hollering.
Absolutely.
But I was in the plane, so I didn't really do any of those things.
He was going like this.
I was smiling. Yeah, exactly. The people next to me were laughing. Yeah, just kidding. They weren't. They didn't care. But it was just an excellent like rom-com. Really well done. Also on Criterion, which is a strange thing.
It just I think recently, no?
Yeah.
Recently.
So you know Come and See? Have you came and saw?
Yeah.
So the director of Come and See, Elim Klimov, has a wife.
Yes.
And she directed also an anti-war movie called The Ascent. And I watched it on the plane, sadly. And it was very sad and devastating and terrifying and awful. And like I feel like I'll like it better than Come and See even. if I ever end up watching. I haven't seen Come and See, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't Come and Saw, but The Ascent was brilliant, and women just do it better, I guess. I watched Fallen Leaves with the Kuosmaki Finnish movie. Not a lot to say about that one. I need to rewatch it. Then I watched Long Legs with Meli, which is just a terrifying experience. We were pissing our pants. We were pooing our pants.
Yes, we were. We were doing all of it.
We were doing everything. Yeah. And it was pretty scary.
It was scary.
But if a good mystery, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage sticks with you. Apart from that, I watched Descendants yesterday, which I thought was a brilliant film. I thought it's well directed, it's well edited.
Choreography's fantastic.
The choreography is fantastic. You
Costume
obviously have this
Oscar-worthy.
masterclass performances by Cameron Boyce, right?
Cameron
and
Boyce,
Dove
Dove Cameron.
Cameron.
Zev is nodding behind the camera. He loved it.
It's a brilliant
it's
film.
His favorite. It's in his
I
top
just
4.
can't get over. Yeah, I can't get over The Descendants.
Yeah.
I'll never stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
I think if I had to rank everything I've seen, that would probably be number one over The Iron Claw, over The Ascent, over Jan Troell's The New Land. So yeah, I think it's the best film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Shout out to Kenny Ortega, is that his name?
Is that the Ken Ortega?
Or
something
I think
like that?
so.
What a film!
Shout
What a
out.
film! Pat on the back, Ken. Yeah. Do you want to say anything else before we move on to the movie of?
I don't think so. I'm just yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Yoav for watching so many movies.
Congratulations to Meli for making it back from Barcelona and Sweden.
I wasn't in Barcelona.
1 piece. Sorry, from Madrid.
I was in Madrid.
From Madrid and Barcelona.
Not Barcelona. But
From
speaking of Madrid.
And Madrid, Spain.
And Spain, and speaking Spanish.
Speaking Spanish.
We watched a Spanish movie.
They know we watched it. We talked about it.
I know. I'm just branching it again. Tu Mama Tambie.
Pause it.
No, let's just keep going.
Okay. Should we talk about it? Should we get it going?
Let's talk about it. Let's
All right.
Yo,
all
Zev.
right.
We still rolling?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So, this is the 3rd time I've seen this movie.
Oh, she's a freak.
I do love this movie. One of my favorites. Yoav, this is his what time? First time.
First time. I've popped my cherry.
Woo!
I've popped my E2 Mama cherry. I've popped my E2 cherry.
Finally. You guys don't understand. I've been telling him to watch this movie for so long, and he just hasn't done it, and it was kind of pissing me off, but finally.
Alfonso Cuarón.
Cuarón.
Director
Of Roma.
Children of Men.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Right, I wasn't gonna mention that one.
Well, you got to.
He's made some other good stuff. No?
Yeah.
What else?
And
has
this
he made?
movie, obviously.
He made some good stuff. He's a great guy. He's amazing. I really like. Which one do I like? I like Children of Men, but I haven't finished it.
Gravity and Paris Je
Gravity
T'aime.
and Paris Je T'aime. Paris Je T'aime isn't only him though. That's like a bunch of directors.
Well, I know, but he's,
yeah.
he's on it.
Gravity I've seen. Gravity was good.
Yeah.
Children of Men was good. We did like a whole film class on it, so I was a little in like in a scholar's point of view and not in a enjoyment point of view, but it was really well directed. He's a great guy, and
He's a
obviously he
fantastic
works
director.
with cinematographer Emmanuel Lubezki,
Lubezki,
who I've seen a lot of his
lot.
work, who's just a master of the craft. No one like him. No one doesn't like him. No one will.
Yeah.
And this film he shot with Lubezki.
Of course.
And I think that's just like a good way to start off this conversation, is just talking a little bit about the cinematography.
Yeah.
Because it is just such an important part of the film.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I mean, so, okay, what I love about the cinematography is the fact that it's able to capture this absolutely perfect summer vibe.
Yeah.
Like, it's just everything about it, like the visuals, the colors. It's able to capture that kind of sweatiness of summer.
Definitely sweaty.
The heat.
Yeah.
And like everything.
The sex.
Yeah. But
the sexiness.
The sexiness.
The penis.
Oh my god. Everything about it is just so perfect.
Oh, it's so summery. It's loose, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It stays in a place longer than the character is left.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like the camera. This lends to the shaky cam aspect of it as well. Is that you just kind of Lubevsky does this a lot as well. He does this with children, man. You feel like a character walking around, seeing these things, and the camera feels like his own kind of guy with his own personality, interested in different things. But it's a pretty melancholic guy, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Very interested in capturing little beautiful moments and some.
The thing with this movie, I feel like a reoccurring almost shot that he uses is like the split.
Yes.
Where he's kind of almost creeping in on the character and like spying on them.
Yes.
And so you can kind of see either half like a wall or like a mirror or a window.
Right.
And then the other half is the character doing something else, going to the bathroom,
What's
talking
so cool
on the phone.
Is that there's so many different shots when he does this kind of split screen technique, or like when we're looking through a wall, through a window, through a mirror.
Yeah.
But each shot means something different in terms of character.
Yes.
Lubevsky is just a master of conveying character through composition. And
it really does show you what Yoav was saying, like what each character is, who they are, what their motivations are, how they react to certain things. Like, I mean, it's really just all around perfect.
So it's very loose and floaty cinematography. It's
Which
very interesting.
I like.
Yeah, it's obviously.
Oh my guys, sorry if you see me jumping around like that. There's bees floating everywhere.
It shoots Mexico in the most. I mean, a lot of movies set in Mexico don't really do it as prettily as
course.
It turns.
Well, okay. I think what lends itself to that is the fact that Alfonso Cuarón is Mexican.
Right.
And obviously he's not going to shoot his country in a stereotypical way with the yellow film, like color grade, whatever.
I guess, but it's also like, since Mexico has been through some tough times, usually you're going to see Mexico as a pretty rough place.
Of course. But I really do love
and you do see the roughness here.
Of course you do. But I think with the roughness, you also see the beauty.
Yes.
Which is usually what's severely lacking when Mexico shows up on film and television. And
some of the beauty is in the roughness and the raggediness but it's also cultural beauty and beauty of the people and like the different people you encounter, the different things, the different set pieces. I mean, it's all, I don't know, it feels so nice. It feels almost documentary like, which is probably a word people often describe the movie with, is that it kind of feels it when it comes to the side characters and the random shit they encounter. It feels like it's just a documentary. And I guess maybe they did encounter things by chance, or maybe there's stuff
potentially
that is improvised. But if I know Emmanuel Lubevsky, it's all incredibly pre-planned, organized. Everything's written down in the shooting, and that's just how they're gonna do it.
Well, yeah, and I think that's also one of the reasons why I love this movie so much, is because it's not stereotyped, and and the people. I mean, obviously not Luisa, because Luisa, the actress, is Spanish, but the character as well.
Yeah.
She's Spanish, but the other actors they're all Mexican. They have come from Mexico. So I think that also really adds to why I love the movie so much, because a lot of the times in other forms of media, you'll have people that are Mexican being played by actors who in fact are not Mexican.
Right.
Or they're represented in a way that is very inaccurate to how they actually look in the country.
Totally.
And so I think that's why I also love this movie so much, because it's definitely accurate in not only geographically or showing off the city,
just portraying
people
so
and
real.
everything.
Yeah. And the camera has such an affinity to all those small moments and all the cultural things and all the, the kids playing around in the it's very slowly paced.
Yeah.
But my eye is always catching, your eye when you're watching the movie is always catching different things. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, look, there's a mother and her daughter on the street. There's a whatever.
There's a princess.
And obviously you care about what's going on. Oh yeah,
there's a queen.
There's a queen of the
Donate
town.
to the queen.
That was so strange. I didn't understand that, but I guess it's a thing.
I'm assuming it's just like a thing in their village, like a cultural.
I just thought it was brilliant. I mean, the way it's shot and like the way the camera floats around and is so interested in everything around what happens in our love triangle.
Yeah.
And in our three main characters.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I didn't even give a fuck about what our three main characters are doing. I wanted to see what's going on the side, and the camera gave that to me.
Yes.
Which doesn't happen very often, especially with movies post 2000s, because back in the day there were all these directors that knew how to capture the beauty of the surroundings of the characters as opposed to all the internal whatever. Which is, I don't know.
I agree with that.
And this love triangle idea has been done so many times.
But I mean, this movie is like a pioneer.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, love triangles have been done before and after, but the movies that the love triangle movies that came after Tu Mama Tambie
were not the same.
No. And you can tell that they really took inspiration from this movie, relationship-wise. And
I think everyone should take inspiration from this movie. Not necessarily from the characters, but like, it's kind of a way of life, a youthful way of life. And like, just like the sexiness of it. Again, like we talked about this earlier, Gael Garcia Bernal said in his Criterion Closet interview where he was like, people don't know how to make sexy movies anymore.
Yeah.
And this movie is fucking sexy.
Yep.
Like, it's erotic.
Yes.
Borderline. Well, not even borderline.
It is. It's very...
It doesn't shy off
No.
from sexuality, from male nudity, from female nudity.
Moodity.
And...
Holy fuck. Sorry. Guys, it's so hot out here.
There's a bee.
Where?
On your hair.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh.
But it's just like the sexuality here is framed so beautifully. I don't know what to say. I mean, we just talked about The Handmaiden 2 podcasts ago. There's a movie that like can shoot sex in a pretty way, I guess, or like make it look, but like there's still, I don't know. There's an elegance to the sex in this movie, even though it's messy and short.
I would say it's
not elegant.
It's
the
just
cinematography is elegant. The sex isn't.
The sex is not elegant at all.
No.
But I think that what makes it so beautiful is how messy it is and how real it is. Whereas in The Handmaiden, it was too crafted, too meticulous, too perfect.
Yeah.
And that's not how sex
There's
is.
just a certain, I don't know, it's a little too sometimes it feels even a little too personal and intimate, where like especially because of the cinematography and stuff, you kind of feel like a bystander that just happened to look into this couple having sex, especially in the beginning when you don't even know the characters. It's like, but like, what a way to open your movie, you know what I mean? So you start
it really sets the tone.
So you
obviously.
start with what, remind me their names again?
Tenoch
and
Anna.
Tenoch and Anna having sex.
Yeah.
Then, and also they have this dialogue which is like really interestingly written, where he's like, don't sleep with anyone else, don't sleep. And they promise each other, they do vows to not cheat on each other, even though I think they both know that they'll probably cheat.
Deep down, they both know.
Especially because Tenoch has already cheated a ton of times, and has cheated with his girlfriend's best friend, who is also the girlfriend of his best friend.
We'll get into.
We'll get into it,
but get into my thoughts on.
You think they're lying?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it.
But it's just an interesting way to introduce the characters, and obviously you see two different sex scenes that are both very short-lived. Obviously, they're very young, don't know how to control their balls.
Yeah, very much so. Here, let me open my.
But I just thought it was an interesting way to begin your movie, and it's so. Yeah, it feels like you're like a person just stumbled upon these couples. And now we're gonna follow these guys for the rest of the movie, and that's fine.
So, then the movie is split up into 3 sections.
Right.
The first part is the build-up of going on the road trip.
Mm-hmm.
So when you meet the characters, them going to that, like, whatever that was, that mariachi thing.
Right.
And then...
like a wedding, I think, or like a...
Yeah, something.
Some
a wedding.
kind of ceremony where the president was there as well.
And so that was definitely, like, Act 1.
Yeah.
Act 2 being them on the road. Not, like, obviously, because, like, the road trip is, like, technically all of the second half, but, like, Act 2 is, like... Act 2 being, I would say... Act 2 is up until the part where they have the big fight.
Right.
And then Act 3 is everything after the fight.
Yeah.
So, like, Act 2 having, like, like...
Well, like, I would say the third act, like, starts on the beach, when they get to the beach.
Yeah. But, yeah, so this movie, pretty freaking crazy. I think...
Pretty whack.
I think, so, I don't really have, like, individualized notes, per se.
Okay.
It's more just, like, a collective, like, overall, overarching...
That's good.
Theme.
Well... I just wanted to get through little notes I wrote in the beginning.
Go ahead.
So, in Gael Garcia Bernal's room...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the beginning...
Julio.
There's Julio's room. There's a poster of Harold and Maude.
Oh, okay.
And if you remember what Harold and Maude is about, it's about a relationship between a 70-year-old woman and a little boy. Kid. What are we talking about?
Foreshadowing
is that there's going to be an older woman and a younger guy. Yeah. And I think that's really cool. And I always write down posters because there's usually always... There's
always a reason why they're
there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just want to mention that. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the narration.
Okay, yes. Okay?
Now, the whole film is narrated in a specific way that's not very conventional.
No.
Because, well, first thing I want to talk about is how all sound cuts off
yes.
when narration begins, which is not something you see often.
No.
Now, it's like this whole movie, you're being bathed in this whole world, and you're getting into this whole world of what it feels like to be in Mexico at this specific point in time, and to be with these characters, and to feel young, and to feel whatever, be involved in this love triangle. And it's weird, because sometimes the narration cuts everything off, and it's like, all of the soundscape that's built by the sound editors, who did a genius job, is being cut off immediately, because like you're always going to hear background conversations or nature sounds or whatever, you know, because it's very immersive and of an experience, and then everything cuts off when the narration, so it's really calling attention to itself. Is what I mean. And you get narration sometimes of stuff that, you know, won't necessarily be in a normal movie, like won't necessarily be explained in a normal movie, like backstories of side characters that aren't relevant to the story, or just like random talks about deaths that have happened in the area, or like in the beginning they pass a car crash and it explains exactly what happened, who died and how. Or later when they pass the site where there's a few graves and they talk about that whole like incident with the chicken coop and the fight or whatever. I don't really remember what happens, but it's very interesting that this movie is so interested in all of the side stories and telling all the stories that that this world is built up of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think after watching it 3 times, I've realized why it's so important to tell those stories, and not just the stories. If you really watch it and you really realize what it is, the narration is almost always political.
Right.
99% of the time, whatever it's talking about is about some sort of something political going on in the moment, in the country, in the area. And politics have like a huge overarching
I was going to ask
theme.
you about that, because what was happening in Mexico 2001? Do you know?
So yes, I do know. Okay. I've done my research about this.
Good stuff.
Basically, It wasn't 2001. It was 2000. So the movie takes place, I believe, on the cusp of 1999 and 2000. The years.
Makes sense because that's probably when they shot it.
Yeah.
Right.
And what was going on in Mexico at the time was the reigning. I have it. So the reigning, like, what's it called?
Because it said that
party.
The party that fell after 75 years or whatever.
So the Institutional Revolutionary Party, which was the main political party in Mexico at the time, ruled for 71 years until it finally collapsed after the National Action Party got elected. So for the first time in over 71 years, a new party has come into play. And that really changed the political atmosphere in Mexico.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of violence, a lot of danger. I believe they were cracking down really hard. I think if you notice in the movie,
many arrests.
Lots of arrests, and I want to say, like, obviously we don't really know what the arrests are for, but you can tell the government is cracking down. They're becoming more serious. You know, like, let's just say people are crossing into the country, coming in like without a visa or whatever, like cracking down on those types of things. A lot of people leaving
as well. All these stories about immigrations to the United States, to Arizona, whatever.
Exactly, and so the National Action Party was a much more conservative political party. Keep that in mind. This is the new one. The new one. The new party that has come in, very conservative compared to the last one.
Yeah.
The Institutional Revolutionary Party, much more socialist, a little bit more liberal. I don't want to say extremely liberal because it wasn't really that liberal anyway, but compared to the new National Action Party, much more.
So that's the political backdrop. It's this. It's interesting because it feels like the writers of the film. Did Cuarón write it as well?
I want to say.
I feel like it's kind of a response to what political turmoil feels like and like transfers of powers feels like, because it's kind of like in a state of limbo when for 75 years an entire people of a country were used to one regime, used to one whatever it will be, the political party, whatever. And now there's a switch. So it's very turbulent. It's very like you're in a state that's like in limbo, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where people's motivations are confusing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Where it's like you don't really fully understand these characters. Why does Lisa sleep with you know what I mean? It's like sexually, the sexuality in the movie and the decisions to sleep with who sleeps with who has to do, I guess, and maybe there's some metaphorical value if you go deep into the history of what this movie is speaking about, but like the relationships have a lot to do with like what political turmoil feels like and how you don't necessarily know a lot of motivations.
I also do want to say that I firmly believe that because of the political atmosphere in Mexico at the time and everything that was going on is a big reason why Tenoch and I always want to say Tenoch, but Tenoch and Julio weren't friends anymore. Because obviously, as you know, the huge thing about Tu Mama Tambie is that there's all this build-up, subtle build-up, till the very end when the two boys end up kissing. And presumably doing more, but obviously we won't really know, but they wake up.
What's her name?
Luisa
does fellatio on both of them at the same time.
Yeah, and then they start making out.
And then they start making out. And we don't really know what we don't really know what happened after that.
All we know is they wake up
moment.
Naked next to each other.
I wanted to talk about a moment when they're first driving before they even meet Luisa. Where there's like a shot of the dashboard of the car, and they're driving, and Tenoch takes the wheel for a second, while Garcia Bernal stops driving. He does something else. I don't know what it is, but the camera is on the dashboard. Basically
Tenoch is driving.
And Julio is taking the wheel for a minute.
Yes, for a minute.
Now, it's framed in such an interesting way because he takes the bottom of the wheel and the dashboard is kind of covering his hands.
Okay.
And when he steers, it kind of looks like he is jerking off his friends.
Do you agree with that?
Zev didn't know.
I think that's just a weird thing.
Notice that
okay,
on a
interesting.
rewatch. I just think it's interesting because there's all of these visual kind of implications. Obviously, they're always on top of each other. They're always naked next to each other. They're always masturbating together. But, that's just boys being boys. Am I right?
Well, that's the thing. Is it just boys being boys, or is it because there's this underlying tension? So, okay, very much, obviously, there's tension between the two of them. You can very much tell as the movie progresses, there is something between these two.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I love it so much, because it's so subtle and it's not in your face, and it's not like oh, I was in love with you since I was no, it's very subtle. And I think
it's very subtle and it's very sexual.
It is. So
it's all about sexual. I would relate it even to the hidden homosexuality that you see in Claire Denis' Beau Travail.
Right.
Which is also a film that we both really like.
Yes.
And like that kind of blink and you'll miss it sexuality that often comes up when it comes to two men.
Right.
So I think it's fascinating. I don't know.
And then I kind of wrote here that like this political buildup is very important for the future of the movie, because like, first of all, and again, it all comes back down to comes back around to Julio and Tenoch will never end up together because of the political climate of Mexico, because of what was going on in the country, because of a conservative regime, and because why would a country worry about gay rights and if gay people are allowed to be together?
Yeah.
When there is so much unrest happening, when there's a huge change coming, when there's all this violence, and a country's not going to care, and the people are going to be scared, and obviously these two boys who clearly have feelings for each other are scared. I mean, I think so, but again, I think
it's more of I don't know. I don't know if they're necessarily like in love with each other, you know what I mean? It's not like that. I really do see them as friends. But there's like a sexual exploration that happens through their friendship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when they masturbate together, for example, it's like they're still talking about other women. Like it's not like they're masturbating in silence or like one of them peeps at the other one. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It's like it feels very friendship, but also very youthful, like sexual exploration with each other. I think they both are maybe bisexual, but I think it's more about the exploration of homosexuality than a sudden like they really loved each other, or they're lovers that can't be together.
Mm-hmm.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, sorry about my bleeding lip. Well,
embarrassing.
I know, I understand what you're saying, and I do agree with that. But like, I think it adds to the point that it's like, whether it's sexual like liberation or finding yourself sexually, at the end of the day, they still can't be together, even if they wanted to, or even if they wanted to try things again.
Right.
They could never do it. They can never be together because of what's happening politically. And
also just the ever-changing nature of life.
Yeah. Which
is a big thing in this movie. Because there's this constant struggle with, like, death and, like, politics and whatever.
Yeah.
And Luisa is obviously someone that fears, and this is explored through the narration, is someone that fears of being forgotten, but is also very flowing and tells them at the end that life is like foam or whatever. Yeah. You have to go with the sea. It's like an everlasting stream of life. And like life continues, which is something you see in a lot of films.
Yeah.
And it's obviously pretty devastating as well, that ending. Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty heartbreaking.
It is.
That they never see each other again, even like on a friendship level.
I think it's, again, it all comes back to politics and how and how like
right.
At the end of the day, it's like they can't even be friends.
Right.
They can't even stay friends, even if they just shared a kiss. Even like, because
even
to
if
them,
they both had their penises in the same mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they approach Luisa for the first time, and they kind of like corner her. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you noticed. Like
they did, yeah.
It's choreographed very interestingly the way they approach her at the same time. But like obviously they're trying to cinematographically set up the fact that it is like a love triangle, and they're in a triangle, and the corners are like 90 degrees. You know what I mean? But you know, it's almost like you don't bring too much importance to their meeting with Louisa unless you've seen like the marketing for the film or whatever, because then you're just gonna get like, they spend like 2 minutes talking to Louisa and we watch that, but then we watch 2 minutes of like a waitress going like carrying food to the president, and so unrelated, you know what I mean? Like that, like it's just ever flowing and all that, so you don't really put too much importance on it, and that's why it feels so much like real life, because like shit that was once unconsequential is now like, I don't know, everything. So I really like that kind of. There were two or three times where you pass someone who's delivering food, whether it be a maid or a waitress, which I thought was interesting. And there's this whole thing about class as well.
Yes, which I actually did write about that.
What did you say?
So I wrote about specifically Tenoch's character.
Okay.
And I was kind of saying how, like, you know, it's very much established that his dad is a very important political figure, and he's very rich. They live in a humongous mansion.
With a giant pool.
Huge pool, like maids, butlers. He's able to travel. He's been to, like, America. He went to Vancouver for a little, Lake Tahoe, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But what I wrote was that, like, Tenoch really tries... he tries really hard to be something and someone that he's not. You know, deep down, he's a rich boy with mommy issues who doesn't like dirt and grime, which is obvious from whenever he, you know, we learn that he kicks up the toilet seat. He doesn't really like touching all that. And, but he pretends that he is, like, some rugged boy.
Yeah.
But then, when Julio claims that he has sex with whores, he shrivels up and, like, denies it all. And I think I know. He hates the association of being, like, poor, low class, coming from trash. Yeah. And then that, again, is very much confirmed when they're having their argument, and Tenoch starts to call Julio low class trash, and he's flipping him off and saying that you are nothing, like, you're scum, whatever.
I think it also relates to just this idea of people that want to be other things and aren't. I want to talk about Louisa for a second. Yes. Because she's a more older girl. How old is she?
I'm assuming she's in her, like, let's say she's a good 30s.
Early
she's
30s, late 20s, something like that. She has been wrapped up in this whole adult world where she's in a relationship that's pretty serious with the writer, to the point that they live together, and she has to deal with infidelity. They're married?
I thought they were married.
I don't know. They definitely live together. She has to deal with infidelity. She has to deal with complicated phone calls. I wrote a long note about that as well. But she wants to be youthful. You know what I mean? She partially just wants to feel young again. And I think that's partially why she went on the trip with them. To feel young is to feel like the world is new, and that you make a difference, that you can make footprints in sand that was pristine and untouched. You know what I mean? It's like the beach is completely clean and no one has touched it, and you can make footprints, you and your young friends, when you won't have to worry about dying or being forgotten, when cheating doesn't mean too much, and when you settle big arguments through, like, laughs and, like, swimming competitions or foosball and soccer games on the beach. No need for phone calls and no tears shed. No regard for political unrest or protests. Like, they don't talk about the politics once, the characters. And I think she kind of likes that to a certain extent. And obviously there's this whole aspect of her cancer and her sickness. Which... that she just wants to pretend like she doesn't have anything.
And that's kind of... So, okay. I did, like, a little... not... For our club or whatever that we had, we
had a film club.
We did Tu Mama Tambie. And I'm really upset that I deleted my notes for that, because I had some really great notes written down. But one of the things I wrote about was Louisa, and how it's very obvious that she knows she has cancer. We obviously don't know she has cancer.
I actually kind of guessed that she was sick or something.
Really?
Because the way she treated it, especially
obviously I knew she had it by the third rewatch. Like, obviously I knew she had it.
You weren't too surprised. But, like, I think just, like, the way she, like, cries so often, and, like, it's obviously not the cheating, because he's cheated on her before.
That's true.
And when she sends a phone call and she's like, or like the voicemail, and she's like, "You'll see soon. Why? Because I'm gonna fucking die." You know what I mean? Like, there's obviously some kind of sickness or something that's eating at her. Well, that's very physical.
But then I think that's really one of the reasons, obviously, why she decides, you know what, like, fuck it, I'm gonna go on this trip. I'm gonna do something for myself for once. I'm gonna go live my life.
Yes, which I love.
Yeah, and it's like, regardless of if I'm with these two immature little assholes,
right? Like, at least it's Gael Garcia Bernal and the other actor,
Diego Luna.
So,
who are both very beautiful.
Yeah,
very
I mean,
cute.
everyone in this movie is just beautiful people with like Zev said, clear skin.
Yeah.
And, just like nice bodies, nice faces.
Zev was really going on and on about how plump their butts were.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going on and on about how plump their booties were and how he wants to just take a nice bite out. I'm joking.
He wants to motorboat the butt of Garcia Bernal.
Yeah. But no, so she clearly wants that liberation, that freedom.
Yeah.
She wants to go live her life a little long. And then that's also kind of why it's like she wants to stay there a few days longer just to really soak it in, take it in. Why she goes in the water with her fucking jeans on, which really pisses me off. But she's like, I have no time to waste. Let me just jump in.
Like David Byrne says in True Stories, what time is it? No time for looking back.
No time for looking back.
Yes, exactly. And this kind of thing of like, what, this will come off as a little weird, but what I love so much about that masturbation scene in the pool.
Oh, of course, he loved it.
That shot where the secretion goes into the water. No, listen for a second.
Don't say secretion. I saw in his notes it says cum in the water.
Yeah, okay.
The cum goes into the water, it sinks down. It's almost like there's no concern for like pregnancy or like you know what I mean. Like they mention condoms once, but every time they have sex, they don't use protection.
Which makes sense because she's gonna fucking die.
Because she doesn't care.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that like pregnancy and shit like that is like stuff that adults worry about a little bit more than youth do. Even though youth should worry about it as well, obviously.
If not more.
But like cum just like sinks into the water and dissolves. You know what I mean? Well, not necessarily, but...
Yay! Zev behind the camera, you better start worrying about that.
He's growing up, he's...
Especially with that girl. I'm kidding, guys, I'm just teasing Zev.
Censor that part out.
Also, okay, I love when he goes, Mamacita, Mamacita!
You love when he does that, huh?
It's so funny.
Yeah?
Well, look, actually, because y'all, to my truly dedicated viewers out there...
Anyways, I don't know what she's yapping about.
This is my Twitter bio.
Her Twitter bio is Mamacita. Would you look at that?
Mamacita.
Yeah.
Well, did we talk about your shirt as well?
Yeah, we did, I thought.
We talked about her shirt?
Yeah, I'm wearing an Tu Mama Tambie shirt.
Yeah. Anyways, this whole like idea of youthfulness and wanting to feel young and like just like the beach and the water, it's all like so... Like the geographical locations are so relevant to the way of life that this movie is kind of presenting, and obviously Meli's usually very attracted to this in filmmaking as well. Loose narratives where it's very slow paced in that it's story wise, but like there's obviously something to see in like the looseness and no story and just kind of hangout movies, as people would call it.
Yes.
But here there's so much substance as well to analyze, because there are so many symbols, and obviously the countryside is so fucking beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It's like one of the most like pretty to the eyes geographically movie I've seen, and road trip movies are always like that. You're always gonna get awesome locations.
Yeah.
I was thinking a little bit about Kiarostami's Life and Nothing More, or And Life Goes On. There's two titles to the film. It's a road trip movie. Father and son go back to an Iranian town to check up on the town and how it's doing after the big Iran earthquake of 92.
Yeah.
So it's like this... Just like I got reminded of it because of all the like culture and like the countryside and it's just so road trips are always gonna be a beautiful kind of thing to film.
Yeah.
And I really, really loved that.
Nice.
I loved this every scene on the beach with the pigs and the people and the pig people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there's no pig people.
I want to say, okay, I do want to say something.
Yes.
So, one thing that I think, I don't know if other people agree with me, but the whole thing about Julio having sex with Tenoch's girlfriend and vice versa, I think it's bullshit. I think it's all made up.
Really?
Yes. Basically, my thought process behind it is that, I don't know, the reason why Julio felt aching in his heart when he saw Luisa and Tenoch having sex.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
Tenoch felt the ache in his heart hearing Julio having
having
sex
Tenoch
with
said it like he was just trying to get him back.
Hold on. Let me.
That's why I think
guys,
they're lying.
Hold on. So Tenoch felt the ache in his heart hearing that Julio had sex with his girlfriend Ana, right?
Right.
And I don't personally think that Julio actually had sex with Ana.
Whoa.
I don't think I don't think either of them did
I think
it.
Julio was lying because he felt bad about.
Julio was lying because he was jealous and he wanted to get back at.
He also wanted Luisa. He felt jealous because he saw him.
I don't know if he necessarily wanted Luisa, but I think it's just that I read it more as like, not even romantically that he wanted Tenoch, but more just he wanted Tenoch's attention.
Oh, I see.
He wants to be like he doesn't understand why. Like, because obviously there's this aching in his heart, and I don't think that comes from the fact that he wants
really
to have sex with Luisa.
And that's what the narration also says, where it's like
he doesn't know why.
Which
is why I firmly believe that it's because he's jealous because he wants Tenoch's attention.
Well, let's talk about the Godfather thing as well. Like we mentioned earlier, Tenoch.
Yeah.
It says that Tenoch hasn't felt this kind of ache in his heart ever since he saw his mom in the arms of his godfather.
Why he has mommy issues.
He went in. He came in on his mom, cheating on his dad. In this situation, Gael Garcia Bernal is his mom. In that, there's like a very close relationship that they have, and like you don't want to see your mom obviously doing adult stuff or cheating or something.
Not that. I don't think so.
He sees Gael Garcia Bernal and he's like, that's my friend. I don't want, you know what I mean?
I don't know. I just wrote here like I don't personally think that they fucked each other's girlfriends. I think they said all that to make each other feel jealous. Even if they didn't realize why they were doing it or feeling jealous. They had this gut feeling to make each other feel jealous because they both want each other's attention. They both want to capture each other's attention. They both, at the end of the day, regardless of if it's romantic or platonic, want to be the most important people in each other's lives. Yes. That's what matters to them. And whenever they're clouding their minds with another woman, it makes them feel jealous because they're no longer number one. Regardless of romantic or platonic, you can interpret it either way. I think it's a mix of both, personally.
That's what I mean, that like he's
not his fucking mother or whatever that means.
I'm just saying, like, it's a close relationship they have. It's kind of like as close as like a mother and son would have, you know what I mean? Sure. I'm not saying they have a fatherly
I know
relationship. I'm just saying, like, they're very, very close, and like seeing him with another person is like.
Are you zooming in?
It's like seeing your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. You want your mom to yourself because it's your mom. You don't want her with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I just think that's relevant.
I just think at the end of the day, deep down, they ache for each other. They long for each other. They love each other, and they just want to be number one in each other's eyes.
And you see that despair in the scene in the pool with the leaves, and that's one of the most beautiful scenes in the film. But it's also very sad.
It is,
in my opinion.
That is probably the most beautiful scene, but it's also definitely one of the saddest.
Especially with the penises.
No.
I don't
know, but regardless, they clearly said all that to make each other feel jealous. I don't think they fucked each other's girlfriends because the details weren't there. They were missing. They were just saying shit.
He said details that contradicted each other.
Exactly.
Kind of like Saba's directions.
So yeah, overall, I think politically, if you understand it and then you are able to connect it, it's not that hard of a movie to understand. On a first pass, I can kind of understand how a lot of these nuances are a little difficult to grasp. Yeah.
But I didn't feel that. I think it's just an incredibly immersive experience, an incredibly sexy experience, a beautiful experience, really one of the most stunningly shot films I've seen. And Lubevsky is just a fucking genius. And it's all just so brilliantly done and choreographed, and it feels like a documentary and something improvisational, but it's also pre-planned and beautiful, and it feels like you're hanging out and you just love. I cared for these characters as well.
Yeah.
And you don't really get character motivations too much except for what they say in the narration, but like you get these characters on a deeper level, and you can get that the camera understands them as well.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I just did a trip to Mexico and like fucked around a little, you know what I mean? And came away no STDs.
No STDs, but good fun and happy life and good food.
Which doesn't happen often, right?
No.
And
mucha cerveza.
Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts before the ratings?
I just love this movie. I love this movie so much. I have to read the booklet. I'm going to actually read this later, the whole thing. But I love this movie. It's absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely stunning. It's perfect to me in every single way.
It's a 5-er?
It's a 5-er. It's been a 5-er. If you were to go on my Letterboxd, you would see it's 5. It's still a 5.
My favorite scene was the scene in the pool with the leaves. My second favorite scene was the ending, because the way that cut to black happened was devastating.
I will say that last scene, is probably that is the saddest scene, when he's walking in behind him when he's walking behind him, and all you see is Julio sitting there in the booth, sobbing, crying.
Is he crying?
Yeah. He was crying.
Okay.
He wasn't sobbing, but he was crying.
Okay. Maybe a tear fell down.
It was really sad.
I didn't see anything.
It was really sad, and I hate that scene because sad. I just want them to be friends and to love each other, but then they will never meet again. And then the politics that get in the way of life is so sad.
I think there's a melancholic ache to the whole thing, but that ending is very sad in general. I love the scene.
Can you stop zooming in?
Did I say the thing with the pigs?
It's like a
I liked the pig scene.
Yeah, you said that.
That was really cool.
Also, one thing I did want to mention is that the shot of her in the phone booth, and like the shot of her in the phone booth, and then the boys are kind of in the background by the. Whatever, keep going. Yeah. The shot of her in the phone booth and the boys are in the background kind of playing foosball, but like not in the background, but it's like the reflection of them in the mirror, in the window. I love that because like she's avoiding talking about them, even though they're like very present in the conversation she's having with Hano, and like and then them being one of the reasons why she left. But again, it's the framing, it's the shot, it's the cinematography that really puts into perspective, love of the storytelling and everything, and you realize like they are always there, they're always going to be there, they're very much present.
I think it's just the beauty of life is captured here. The beauty of sexuality. 1 star. Sorry.
What? No, I'm kidding.
Eat one Mama Tambie.
I'm going to share in Meli's joy. Give it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was beautiful.
This is great.
I had so much fun just watching these characters and their naked bodies.
Fuck yeah.
Even if this was just like purely pornographic.
What?
What? No.
But
we
all
would
I'm saying
indulge.
is that you can enjoy it on a sexual level. You can enjoy it on a philosophical level. You can enjoy it as on a political level, as just a casual moviegoer or a lover of cinema, or just someone that's involved in romance or doesn't care for romance. I just think it's brilliant. It's beautiful.
Perfect.
We don't have a pick lined up for next podcast.
Next week is just going to be La Piscine.
La Piscine. Spirit of the Beehive will come up soon. Maybe one day you'll see Zev in front of the camera as a guest on the podcast. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked Tu Mama Tambie as much as we did.
Yeah. We can't wait to see you guys. Thank you.
We love you guys.
we've been waiting to do an in-person podcast for a while, and it's finally here.
Yeah.
You probably won't get another one for a while.
Sorry if this one was a little messier than our usual program.
You know, we haven't done in person. We don't have the setup, the structure.
Also, it's a little weird talking in Meli because she's really short in person.
Oh my god.
She's like 1'3". So bear that in mind.
It's not true. I'm actually 5'6", guys.
I'm taller than that.
He is. He's like 5'8".
No, I'm not. What the fuck?
5'9".
I'm 5'11".
No, you're
no,
not.
you're not.
Yes, I am. Measure me, buddy.
You're 5.
I'm 5'9".
You're 5'9".
Okay, everyone calm down. Thank you guys so much for
Christ,
listening
thanks
to
for
One
watching.
Ratio Pod. Watch La Piscine, form your own opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm watching Tu Mama Tambie, obviously.
Obviously. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching.
What the fuck is he doing behind the camera?
That's a cut.
Alright, guys, we love you.
Bye. I already said that's a cut.
Oh, okay.
That's a cut.
My fucking back hurts, dude.
Mine
That's
too.
a cut.
That's a cut!